Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, expected to sign a nearly $500 billion stimulus package to help mainly small businesses. As unemployment claims soar again, now 26 million out of work since the crisis started. We want to know if you think Americans need another stimulus check.
The reaction from the public doctors and even public health continues this morning after 2 local physicians claimed COVID-19 is similar to the seasonal flu and that the economy should reopen right away. What a longtime infectious disease doctor had to say.
2 former Bakersfield football players watched last night's NFL draft with very personal interest, waiting to hear their names called. We'll tell you what they heard as we share some exciting news on this Friday, April 24th, 2020. Good morning, everyone. Great to have you with us along an end to another long work from home week for many people. I'm coming to you from my home in Tehachapi once again this morning. Alex in downtown Bakersfield, Kevin Schrett at his home in Southwest Bakersfield. Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone.
It is Friday, and I have to say, the days are starting to really run together, because of what we're all going through. But Friday, it still is very sweet during this time. But let's take a look at your forecast on this finally Friday. And I got to tell you, Kev, it was pretty warm yesterday. I laid out by the pool just for a few minutes and really felt the high temperatures.
Did you get in?
I didn't get in. The water, I did put my foot in the pool, and it was way too cool. Still too cold for me. But I'm that guy that likes to wait until like early June, mid-June before I get into the pool.
Hey, I'm with you on that. I'll enjoy poolside, but I will not get in until that water's a little bit warmer. Right now, a little chilly for me, but I'll tell you, the kids are probably going to want to get in the pool this weekend because they just have no climate control. They'll get in when it's ice water. That's just how kids are. The ambient temperature outside is definitely going to be warm this weekend, so we might see some pool action. And just want to remind you as we get into these warmer months, just to really watch our kids. I know a lot of kids are home at this time of year, and it's very, very important to watch them if they are going to be poolside. Yesterday's high was 84 degrees in Bakersfield, again above the normal of 77 for this time of year. Our record 100, and that was set back in 1910. Right now, Bakersfield 63 degrees. I was outside letting the dogs out a few minutes ago, and fairly mild. No winds to talk about at this time. As we take a look at the temperatures for today, we will rise in the mid-70s by 11 o'clock, and then you can see mid-80s by 5. So definitely going to see a warm up today into the weekend. 48 in Tehachapi right now, a little cooler there, west-northwest wind at 3. And right now, no major winds to talk about around Kern County. And you can see here this afternoon, temperatures expected in the lower 70s. So, are we still expecting 90s? I've got more details on that part of the forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Alex?
All right, Kev, thanks so much. Your time now is 5:03, and in just a few hours, we're expecting another update on coronavirus numbers here in Kern County. Right now, the total stands at 708. 26 people are in the hospital. That's up 5 from the day before. 4 people have died from the virus, and 327 people have made full recoveries. Now, let's take a look at the curve right now. And our peak is still April 9th, with 62 cases confirmed that day. It is still too early to tell if we've flattened the curve, according to local health officials. And here's the number of pending tests across the county. We do know that nearly 5,400 tests have come back negative for COVID-19, although the results are still pending for more than 3,600 tests.
You're going to dance on someone's constitutional rights, you better have a good reason. Is the flu less dangerous than COVID? Let's look at the death rates. No, it's not. They're similar in prevalence and in death rate. We need to still shelter in place. Our answer is emphatically no. Do we need businesses to be shut down? Emphatically, no.
A follow-up now to a story we first brought you Wednesday. The backlash has been swift for 2 doctors at Accelerated Urgent Care. Doctors Dan Erickson and Arten Masihi own the largest testing site in Kern County, Accelerated Urgent Care. The 2 held a news conference where they said social distancing is hurting public health and violating the public's rights. That has sparked a huge debate across Kern County, with thousands of people weighing in on our social media pages. People on both sides of the issue feel very strongly. There are those who agree with the doctors, who say that Kern County should reopen right away. And then there are others who believe the doctors' statements are dangerous for public health. Meantime, Kern County Public Health says it flat out disagrees with Dr. Dan Erickson and Artin Masihi, and we're also hearing from other local doctors who dispute their message.
People are entitled to their opinion. They are entitled to speak about this topic as they wish. I want to just reiterate, we do not agree with the statements that were made. Centers for Disease Control, the top medical minds of our nation, the World Health Organization, our local state officials, the guidance is clear.
Kern County Public Health worries that the encouraging people to leave home will only prolong the time we have to stay there and further burden our healthcare system. Other doctors we heard from did not call out Dr. Erickson by name, but they definitely offered a different message.
25% of individuals may in fact be infected with COVID-19, but be completely asymptomatic.
That is correct. That they will be entirely asymptomatic, they may not even know that they are harboring the virus, and yet they can spread the virus.
On Facebook Live yesterday, longtime Kern County infectious disease doctor Naveen Amin shared his expertise on COVID-19. He's calling for more widespread, FDA-approved testing beyond just those with symptoms. And going forward, Amin shared what could happen if society reopens too soon.
No doubt in my mind that if we abruptly remove all the restrictions we have been putting at present, which has helped us a lot in trying to prevent the spread of the virus, it will definitely flare up, increasing the number of cases as well as deaths.
Dr. Amin also offered advice to listen to the CDC and other infectious disease doctors, including Dr. Anthony Fauci. If you'd like to watch the full 30-minute interview of Dr. Amin, we've posted a link on our website, kget.com.
A homeless man living at the Mission at Kern County has tested positive for COVID-19. Executive Director Carlos Baldovinos confirmed one of their residents tested positive on Monday night. The man, who has not been identified, becomes the first patient at the county's makeshift coronavirus ward at the Kern County Fairgrounds. The county purchased 15 new RVs and set them up in the northwest corner of the fairgrounds, specifically to handle homeless people who test positive. Homeless shelters are especially problematic because of the close quarters, which makes social distancing very difficult. Baldovino says the mission has taken steps to limit the spread of the virus.
A national truck stop confirms a local employee has tested positive for the virus. The employee works at the Love's travel stop in Lost Hills, just off Interstate 5 and Highway 46. A spokeswoman says the company hired a cleaning team to disinfect the store. Other employees were asked to stay home for 14 days and talk to their doctors. The dining rooms at Love's travel stops have been closed, but they offer drive-through and carry-out.
Meantime, the Wonderful Company also confirmed a case of COVID-19. However, the company did not say where the employee works. We specifically asked if the case was confirmed at the pistachio plant in Lost Hills. Wonderful did not deny this, but again, all the company said was an employee is self-isolating at home, and others were asked to do the same out of an abundance of caution.
And a California City Correctional Facility employee has also tested positive for the virus. This marks the 6th employee at a Kern County prison to contract COVID-19. According to the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, there are 4 employees at Wasco State Prison and 1 at North Kern State Prison who've tested positive for the virus, in addition to the employee at Cal City.
Governor Gavin Newsom has issued an executive order addressing a variety of issues in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. One part involves the Department of Motor Vehicles. The order states that deadlines for expired driver's licenses and other things can be extended for 60 days. It also suspends late fees for vehicle registrations. The order also allows retailers to provide plastic grocery bags to consumers without charge. Because of COVID-19 concerns, some grocery stores stopped allowing people to bring in their own reusable bags, and workers still had to charge for single-use plastic bags. Newsom also issued another executive order to help schools focus on the pandemic. It extends deadlines for planning documents tied to budget projections. It also requires local educational agencies to be more transparent with their community about their response to COVID-19.
The time now is 5:09. Nearly $500 billion in emergency aid funding is headed to states battling the coronavirus. Today, the president is expected to sign a new aid package approved by the House. Lawmakers had to take turns voting yesterday because of social distancing and entered the chamber with masks. The aid packages include more than $300 billion to fund the Small Business Paycheck Protection Program, plus $75 billion for hospitals and $25 billion for testing. New unemployment numbers show over 4 million Americans filed for first-time jobless claims last week. That brings the 5-week total to more than 26 million new claims since this crisis began. And that's the subject of our 17 News interactive feedback poll this morning. We're beginning this poll this morning. It will go on all day long. We want to know, the stimulus bill brings aid to small businesses and hospitals, but what about people? Many have received their stimulus checks while others are still waiting. The maximum you can receive is $1,200 per person or $2,400 for a couple. For many, that check is much needed relief, but some say it's not enough to help them get through this difficult time, especially if stay-at-home orders continue. So that is what we want to know this morning. Should Americans receive another stimulus check? Call us or text us at 888-4617. Press 1 if yes, you think that we should. 2 if not. You can also text, tweet, email, or Facebook your comments. Once again, that phone number is 888-4617. We'll air some of those comments coming up in about 30 minutes.
The McFarland City Council has approved a proposal to convert 2 prisons into ICE detention centers. The council sided with Geo Group, voting 4-0 in favor of the project. Councilmember Stephen McFarland recused himself, citing a conflict of interest. The move allows modifications to be made to the Golden State Community Correctional Facility and the Central Valley Community Correctional Facility. Both will become U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention centers that would house 1,400 immigrants. Geo Group's plan failed to pass through McFarland's Planning Commission earlier this year, so the company launched an appeal. The American Civil Liberties Union says it will fight the council's decision. And before last night's City Council decision, protesters lined up in cars outside City Hall to make their feelings heard. Several community groups in McFarland, as well as pro-immigrant rights activists, claim having ICE detention facilities in McFarland will be a threat to undocumented residents. Geo Group has called the allegations unfounded, saying it has ICE processing centers in Bakersfield and Adelanto, and there has not been any increase in enforcement activities. And the move will save 300 jobs and bring in millions in tax revenue for McFarland.
Happening today, the pregnant mom killed in Lamont and her newborn son, who died days later, will be remembered. Investigators say Javier Vidal shot his girlfriend, Aubriana Rivera, last Sunday night. Vidal was killed later in a gunfight with the sheriff's office during a standoff. The couple's baby, Josiah, was delivered as his mom was dying, but the family had to take him off life support days later. The memorial begins at 5 tonight at the Basham Funeral Home in Lamont. The service is open to the public, but the family asked people to cover their faces, and the funeral home says it is encouraging social distancing.
5:13 now, and a former Bakersfield football player is drafted into the NFL.
The team he was picked for in the first round still ahead.
Welcome back. 32 of the best football players around the country received the call they have spent years dreaming of. Among them, one Bakersfield quarterback. 17's Taylor Schaub has the story.
Good morning. Jordan Love waited and he waited almost to the point where it felt like it wasn't going to happen. But then with 6 picks to go, he finally got that elusive call he'd been waiting for.
With the 26th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State.
In a single moment, Jordan Love's life changed forever. The kid that grew up in Kern and played ball at Liberty High, now the potential successor to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
It was just a dream back then, but now, it's becoming a reality, so it's pretty crazy.
It's almost fitting that the high school standout now plays in the city known as Titletown, because as many in our community know, Kern's got quite the winning reputation of its own. Similar to Aaron Rodgers' draft experience, Love waited with his family and friends for nearly 3.5 hours.
So waiting to see where Jordan Love will go, as is everybody there.
Watching pick by pick go by until it was his time. Now, there'll be plenty of questions for the young QB at training camp. How will he improve his accuracy? How will he stack up against the other top picks? How will he handle sitting back behind a Hall of Famer? But for now, those questions can wait, because this Bakersfield native has made it. And the draft will continue tonight with the second and third rounds being decided, and you may see a familiar face in Michael Pittman Jr., who has Bakersfield roots and played college ball at USC. He's projected to be drafted in either the second or third round. In Southwest Bakersfield, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
It's just very exciting for him and, of course, our community as well. Up next, more furloughs and layoffs coming to the Central Valley. The latest businesses hit with warn letters coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The time now is 5:26. Adventist Health is one of 16 employers that expects to furlough workers. 16 warn notices sent out to county officials were released yesterday. Those notices are required when employers make major adjustments that affect workers. Adventist said it is laying off over 50 non-essential staff. Most layoffs are temporary, but at least 2 are expected to be permanent. Others anticipating layoffs include Goodwill, San Joaquin Valley College, and large chains like Black Bear Diner, Arby's, and Dick's Sporting Goods. For a complete list, go to our website, kget.com. Wall Street is set to open lower this morning following a wild day yesterday on the markets. The Dow had been up as much as 400 points before a report citing data accidentally published by the World Health Organization said Gilead's drug remdesivir did not improve conditions of coronavirus patients in a clinical trial in China. Stocks pulled back, even as Gilead says the study was inconclusive because of low enrollment. The Dow closed with a small gain, but the S&P 500 and NASDAQ ended slightly lower. All three are on pace to snap a 2-week winning streak, even as they've also rallied more than 25% since late March. United Airlines will soon begin requiring flight attendants to wear masks, and that starts today. The airline says it's first major U.S. carrier to adopt the requirement. It will begin with 20 masks on board each aircraft serving domestic routes and 40 on international ones. United will not replenish the supply after every flight. Instead, it will do so as needed and as supplies permit. Flight attendants also will have the option to wear their own face mask coverings. 5:28.